Welcome to your Spiritual Besties podcast. I'm Lauren Ledoux.
And I'm Rashida McCoy. We're here to laugh, cry, learn, and connect with you.
We discuss anything and everything from our everyday lives to the magical, mystical, and woo-woo.
So take a deep breath, grab a cup of tea,
and set an intention to receive, because you deserve it, bestie. Hey, Rashida. I am fine. Just fine.
Well, we can leave it at that today. Some days are meant to just be fine.
Yeah. No, it's all good. It's kind of rainy and kind of matches my vibe today. So,
yeah,
some days that feels good.
And it should be like it's emotions. They're supposed to move through you. We're not meant to be like stagnant with one thing.
Yeah, and we just entered cancer season when we're recording this. Or I think it's about to enter cancer season. I don't know. I know it was the new moon in Cancer, so I'm feeling all the emotions.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, I'm actually doing pretty good. I've been diving into some practices recently, and I'm just feeling very juicy. But I will say, as I walk up to my front door, I have my knockout roses on each side, which are usually beautiful. And I let them run wild. I don't trim them or anything like that. But these dang beetles, they are terrorizing my roses. But other than that, I feel great. And I'll do something about that because they're not welcome on my roses. But other than that, I feel great. It's been good. And I believe we're going to be going out of Cancer soon because Daniel's Cancer and he just had a birthday. So.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's going on.
I know. That's the only reason why I know is because he's a Cancer. We're still in it, and we'll probably move out of it soon.
Going into Leo, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Different vibes. Okay. It's funny that you say that about your roses because I know that we're both doing the rose mystery right now, right? That's what we're spiritually studying. So it's interesting. Also, have you used neem oil or
I have
neem
not.
spray? It works pretty well for pests. And it's gentle and natural. And anyway, I can send you my link.
Yeah, send me the link.
Okay.
I need that.
Because we've used that for pests in our garden and it's worked really well without killing anything. And yeah, it deters them. All right. Anyway. What are we doing today?
So we were talking about how we miss really getting into our intuition and doing our readings. We've, both been pretty busy. And so today we actually get to do a reading today. I'm so excited. So we have Melissa. And Melissa is going to join us for her reading. And so Melissa, welcome.
Hello, Rashida and Lauren. I'm so excited to receive and just feel our energies together.
Yes, we are so excited to have you here. So Lauren and I have already sat in meditation with your energy and got messages, but we would love for you to share a little bit about what called to you to get a reading and what you were hoping we can kind of help you move through today.
So the last couple of years, I've really been on figuring out my soul purpose, really on my path, really tapping more into spirituality and figuring that out. And it started, it's a journey, but it started really after miscarriage and healing through that. And there was something that just started calling me in the last year or two. And I love receiving readings. I just feel I think I feel very sensitive to people and feelings. So I'm very interested in it.
Okay. Well, great. So this is a fun little thing for us to do with you today.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, great. Well, I'm excited too. Lauren, how about you? Are you ready to just dive right in?
Yeah, I am ready. Melissa, will you maybe tell us just a little bit more about yourself to give us all a little more context before we dive in?
Yeah. So I'm a mama of a toddler girl. She's 3, and I know we've got all girl moms here. um, I am also the author of a poetry collection, My Roots Grow Strong, and a lot of my healing journey and what I was talking about here at the beginning is really connected to me creating and writing this book. I have a career in the aerospace industry, and we
Ooh,
live on the Connecticut shoreline in a very quaint community that I love. And I I'm a Taurus. So I don't know what came out for you when you're doing your readings and looking at everything, but yeah, that's a little bit about me.
okay.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks so much for sharing. What a sweet life you have there in Connecticut, and so
Yeah.
interesting. So Rashida and I did chakra readings for you today, and I guess we'll dive right into it. Yeah, Rashida.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did have a question for you, Melissa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know your human design?
I think I looked at this before and I don't remember. I'm not sure if I'm a manifester or yeah, I'm not 100%. So
Okay.
I don't
I might
remember.
Yeah, no worries. I might follow up with you later, but I
Okay.
was just interested to see what you were. I always like Lauren knows I love digging into human design a little bit too. So, but yeah, Lauren, do you want to start us off?
Sure. So I will start with your inner goddess. That's who I work with to help look through your chakras, and I'll do my best to kind of just review what each chakra is and what kind of energy it holds today. Sometimes we kind of blast right through them because we're so used to speaking that language now, but I know not every listener is familiar. But I will say we do have an episode all about the chakras if you're interested um, as a listener. So maybe we can put it in the link it in the show notes for anybody who wants to know even more. All right, Melissa. First, thanks for permission to read your energy. It was um, really a delightful thing to be able to do. It was good energy for me to be in. I wrote all this out last night, so I'm going to do my best to read my own handwriting as I return to your energy. Um, so, first for your inner goddess, this was a new one for me. I never know what I'm going to see, and what I saw was this like wise. It's funny. I wrote the words deeply rooted. Wise, deeply rooted tree spirit.
Wow.
Um, and the tree had like a fairy door, and it was just like filled with all of these bright little light fairies.
Ooh.
Oh
It
my
was really
gosh.
cool. So what I got from that was this very like kind of ancient and um, wise soul, but with a very like childlike uh, spirit and attitude. So really nice balance there. Um, Yeah, childlike, pardon, innocence and imagination is what I wrote. So just something like straight out of a fairy tale.
Wow. It's funny too because I love telling like fairy stories to my daughter and reading like fairy books.
How funny. So that is like an intrinsic part of your soul is and not just like one fairy, but it was like a bunch of fairies inside this beautiful tree. So it's like you hold all of this like
Wow.
very magical energy. Within this like ancient soul with like not only deep roots but big beautiful expansive branches too. um, and I'm going to just invite you to really keep this in mind as we go through your reading today, because I guess I don't usually go through the overall message right away, but I'll tell you, like, one of the overall messages I was receiving was simply just to trust that you have what you need. And a lot of like most of the quote unquote like blockages that I saw were really like self imposed in a way, or just like you not totally like seeing things for what they are, which is like really beautiful and loving and light filled. So, just keep your beautiful tree spirit in mind as we go through this.
Okay.
So I know Rashida and I both started with your crown, and the crown is that at the top of the head, and it is your connection to source, spirit, the divine, however you define God or goddess. So that's where I started, and what I saw was this big, like open pink lotus flower with like golden sparkles kind of like flowing down
Wow.
into it. And yeah, like glittery light floating in, super open, connected, and able to receive source energy. So I didn't really see any like blockages there. I just saw this very beautiful, like open lotus. I saw you had a reaction. I'm really interested to know, like,
Yes. Well, first of all, pink is my favorite color, and if you can't tell, I mean, I have matching pink headphones and everything, but so Lotus is so I actually one of the first poems I ever wrote was Lotus She Rises, and it's a beautiful pink lotus that the illustrator made for that poem, and it's just like I'm getting the chills thinking about it because yeah, I love lotuses and like what they represent. I wrote a poem about it, and that pink lotus that you describe is almost exactly what she illustrated. It's wow.
wow, that is
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll let you know that, like, although this theme didn't really carry down through the reading, I could definitely like see the symbolism of the lotus there, like, its roots in the mud, and
Mhm.
the um the work that it takes, like, to be in that space with the lotus at the surface and open and receiving. So I wanted to acknowledge and like honor you for that, for being present to your own journey, and for like, yeah, the work that you've put into being open to source, because you know mu- lotuses grow through the mud and muck and the dark to open
Mhm.
up beautifully on the surface. Yeah, that's really cool. Thanks for sharing,
Yeah.
Melissa.
Thank you.
Yeah, Rashida, what'd you see?
Yeah, so I had something come through a little bit different in your crown. So, um, I had this like picture of like ivy, like around your crown chakra, and it was, oh, and I don't honestly, I don't think it was the exact plant ivy. It just had that like feel to it. Um, so I just wrote ivy growing all around, and I put beautiful in its chaos. And so
Mm.
when I actually called your energy towards me, I usually look around like when I have you in my place of nature, but for some reason my attention just stayed focused on you and your guide. And your guide was like, I don't know if you work with angels or not, but it gave me this like angelic feel, feminine feel, almost like a protective like feeling over you, like very protective. I saw the wings. It was just very soft and feminine, but also like strong and a powerful type of vibe. So, like, your back is covered essentially.
That's
But
amazing.
when I asked your guide like what that meant, the beautiful and its chaos, she handed me a pair of like golden scissors. And I was like,
Hmm.
okay. So for me, when I think about what this means, is like the fact that you're like have so much vines and so much growth, like you were like open and receiving, and you were just like getting all this nourishment from the divine. And Lauren, I am going to go to the next one because it kind of ties in real quick, and you can backtrack if you need to. But um, let's see. Okay, so she gave me the scissors. And then in your third eye, the message that I received was trimming away some of the growth. Will allow your third eye to fully um, open, gain more clarity in your purpose, and oh man, my writing, more resolve in your actions. And then I got this image of a dropper on your eye. So I don't know if it's one of those things where like you are open and receiving, but maybe I'm just getting this feeling of like perhaps coming to like a practice and a direct connection with your like in your divine like relationship, and maybe focusing in on like one or two practices, like getting really good with these
Mhm.
practices. Almost yeah, I'm just getting a feeling of like coming together almost. So again, this is just my interpretation of what I'm getting. You might get something else. And then the image of the dropper that I got on your third eye, it's really calling me to saying, maybe look into some water type of rituals. I'm not sure if
Mm.
you have any rituals around water and what that might mean. But for me, your third eye, you had like the vines kind of covering it. So trimming those vines away to kind of like open that up and like really working with water is what I'm getting around. I don't know if you are having any issues with like your intuition or not. I didn't really see, but the vines covering your third eye came to me like a blockage.
Mm.
So, yeah, trimming that and really working with water. I'm just getting this feeling of you really needing to work with water to kind of help with your third eye area.
Okay. I think that it's interesting, this vision you're getting, because this is like kind of like that goddess, natural goddess vibe. That's kind of like that is kind of the vibe I've been feeling the last year. And I've
Mm,
also been focusing more, especially like I'm starting this summer and being intentional, self-love, femininity, focusing on that. Um, and more being more spiritual. So I'm definitely aligning with that. And yeah, I'm not sure with water. I mean, I'm trying to think. I have actually committed to like doing a nice self-care bath on Sundays, but in terms of like more of a practice with water, I don't know. I have to think about that.
yeah, I think it's something to look into and even just like play with. The fact that, I'm being called to water and you really haven't looked into that, that might help you strengthen that, hold on spirituality that you're looking for. And, it may, I don't know, deepen your practice and deepen your connection, which is what I'm feeling like. I don't know. I keep doing this with my hands, but that's the feeling that I'm getting. So, yeah, I think this is like a really cool time for you to just play
Okay.
and see what you like. And the thing about spirituality is there is no script. There is no like, this is what you must do to be spiritual, which is amazing that I feel like. So, come to your practice as like, I wonder what this will like open up for me, or I wonder what
Mm,
I'll get from this, or water. Let's see, how can I play with water? What, type of element is it? Like misty water is like a body of water, like is it a stream of just moving water? Is it just me, standing in the shower and like meditating on what's coming through, what I'm feeling? Like just be really curious about this, and
okay.
I think that it'll open up some doors for you.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. And I do feel that I'm just starting to figure out, like, and start to trust and become aware of intuition. And it's like that thing that you like feel but can't touch. Like, so I think this is a really good idea to explore that and tap into it more.
Yeah, absolutely. Lauren, what do you have for us?
First, I wanted to ask you, what did you say at the beginning? Like something about the chaos when you were talking about the vines
Oh,
in the
yeah.
crown?
Yeah, so I had ivy growing all around and beauty, there's beauty in its
Beauty
chaos.
and its chaos. Okay. I wanted to ask again because I think we're going to come back to that later on in my reading.
Okay, cool.
But not till later. Thank you. So, third eye located between the eyebrows. It is the center for intuition, wisdom, higher faculties, and thinking. It's like the bridge between our world and the other realm. So, when I looked into that, Melissa, what I saw at first was like a hypnotist spiral, like like the you're getting sleepy. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah. I
spiral
know
round and
exactly.
around
I
and
know
around.
exactly. Yeah.
What I saw that was like kind of a powerful portal and ability to travel to quote unquote other worlds, whether that's like fantasy or that's like actual other dimensions or something like that. Um, but the that spiral showed me almost like too myopic of a focus. I was wondering if you ever have a tendency to get like a little too hyper fixated on things or focused on things.
Yes. Like 1,000%, yes.
Okay. That
Yeah.
tendency could be a block for your intuition, and it could lead to like
Mm.
a lack of self-trust. And kind of the remedy for that is being able to zoom out at times and see the bigger picture. And sorry, this cat just scratched Gemma.
Oh.
What your inner goddess said was that you can essentially look for others' point of views when you get into that hyper fixated state. So I
Okay.
think sometimes it can be dangerous almost to like constantly be looking to others for validation or for perspective. But I think for you, it can be really healthy as long as you go to people that you trust and who are on like the same wavelength as you. So for instance, like doing a reading like this is awesome for you. I think it can help like kind of broaden things out and take you out of that like fixated space, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah, definitely. And I definitely, since I was young, I struggled with anxiety, and there's usually a lot like on inside my mind and feeling that hyperness. And so over the years, I've gotten a lot better at trying to manage that. And, with even meditation has helped me a lot recently. So, um, yeah, that's really interesting that that came up.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Yeah.
confirming that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and know that it's not necessarily a problem. Like I think that it's been able to serve you. Like you have a lot of like diversity in what you do in your life and you work in aerospace. Like clearly you're a very like intelligent and creative person. So I think like, I wouldn't turn that mode off completely because I'm sure it can really be helpful. But like when it starts to feel like a problem, is when it's time to like zoom out and look at other
Mhm.
perspectives. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it definitely does serve me, and just what I do in terms of creating or working or, so much. But I do think it's good to pull back a little bit and see that big picture and get out of the micro. I can
Hmm.
really get into the micro a lot, and
Yeah.
that can give me anxiety.
Yeah, it makes you think of like say you're writing a poem and if you like get focused in on the micro, you're never going to have a poem because you need to
Mhm.
like have that first draft or that first like spill out of the brain and it can kind of block creativity in a way.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, that's really interesting. I'll go ahead and move on to the throat. And for the throat, it's located in the throat, but also governs like the mouth and the ears. And it's all about our communication. Are we in truth? Are we in integrity? Are we sharing our gifts? So for the throat, what I saw was like a beautiful blue waterfall, not like a violent, like big waterfall, but just when it's like a nice, soothing waterfall, which is really lovely. It's not very often I look at a throat chakra and it feels like healthy.
Oh.
Um,
Wait, but this is interesting too because Rashida thinks that, you're
water.
you're seeing water would be really beneficial. So
Mhm.
it's kind of interesting you're seeing that.
For sure. Yeah, I saw like an ability to self-express. So what it needs is trust that you know what to say and when to say it. Um, so you don't have to plan and I this brings me to like human design. I'd be really interested to know like what's going on in your throat there, but like you don't need to plan things out in advance on what to say. Like say you were getting ready for this podcast this morning and maybe you're thinking like, "Oh, maybe I should say this or that." Like you don't have to
Oh,
plan. You can just like
that's so me. That is so me. And I actually get really nervous like when I
Mhm.
can't plan it ahead.
Yeah, I can do the same.
Mm.
But this is asking you to like really trust that you will know what to say in a moment and when, like the timing on when to say it. Um, and that you can really utilize the power of your throat. Like it will be fortified the more authentic and the more vulnerable you are, which go hand in hand. Um, yeah, Maybe, like, drinking a lot of water is good too, I don't know, like, picturing the
I
water
drink a
going.
lot of water, many of these big jugs
Yes,
all day,
I've
so
got my diet
maybe
one here too. The mom jug. Um,
Yep, it's yes.
but yeah, just know that, like, it's one of I think the throat is one of your superpowers, which makes sense if you're a
Oh,
writer.
yeah.
Um, but that certainly can come into play with speaking as well, and I think the more you get out of your own way with that, the better.
Yeah, that's really validating, and I've really been focusing on, like, especially trying to build a community, being true to me, being true to
Mhm.
you, being authentic, and when I go back to that, it really just helps validate, like, that it's okay to just say what I really believe. Um, yeah, I also really like singing, so
Mm.
Mm.
that's yeah, it kind of goes in alignment with that too.
Yeah, very cool. Well, that's definitely gonna serve you. Anything like, I would even this is just coming to mind right now, like, say you're getting ready to speak for your community or for a podcast or whatever it is, to, like, sing in preparation rather than, like, get in your head and plan words, you
Oh,
know?
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe chant or,
Chant,
whatever
I
feels
literally was
authentic
gonna
to
say
you.
chant might be really, really good. It's not, like, completely open. It is, like, there is some, like, stability there and same thing over and over again, but it also takes you out of your mind as well.
Mm.
Okay.
I'm feeling really, like, my body was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah." So, I I just wanted to, like, share that, like, yeah, that's, like, a way you should feel to go
Yeah.
if you're called to that.
Yeah, because I definitely when I am about to speak, I will say something in my head and, like, say it out loud many times. So, I think that's a good practice to try.
Mhm. Very cool.
Awesome.
Rashida.
Yeah, so when I came to your throat, Melissa, there was this green gem that was in front of your throat. This gem was tethered with like tiny green tendrils to your heart. So when I was like looking at it, I just felt this need to like pick it up and put it back in your heart space. And then I like asked your guide, like, what does this mean? And they were like doing these, she was like doing this gesture. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what this means. I told her I didn't understand. And so she spoke and she said, Melissa will find more strength in her voice and message when she tends to the matter of her heart. And I thought,
Oh,
interesting. And Lauren, I'm just gonna go down into the heart,
it's
okay?
powerful.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was really shocked. And most guys like will do a different gesture. They won't give me like a clear message. So I was really loving that.
You and your
And
pantomime guides.
yeah, I do. I really do. um so in your heart space, so that you had that beautiful gem with the tiny tendrils leading the tendrils, when really looked at it, it was leading up and down. And so we all know that our heart is that bridge between our upper and lower body and our chakras. So our upper and lower worlds of your life. So this is your bridge, the upper and lower worlds of your life. I felt as if it shouldn't be a gym, but a free flowing energy. And then I got this question that came through. Where can you soften? And then what are you protecting in the matters of your heart? So this gem was pretty in essence and really, really beautiful. But I just had this feeling that it needed to be more like flowy, more liquidy, just more like um, it's not as structured. So again, it's like, where can you soften and what are you protecting when it comes to your heart?
Mm, that's very powerful. Yeah, I have to think about that, but it's interesting since I'm trying to focus on intuition, feminine, which, you think about flow and heart. And I mean, just also going back to what Lauren's saying, like I can be in my head, like head versus heart, and I would love to be more in my heart and just go with it,
Mhm.
go with it instead of my head says to do this, my heart says to do this, but I'm just going to go with what my head says because that's what makes sense, that's practical. that's, so
I'm also
it's
getting too,
interesting.
Melissa, like, you're saying you're trying to lead more with your heart than your head. I think this also might be like I don't know why the word early warning system is coming to my mind, but when you are tapping more into your heart, try not to bring the same energy as what you have in your mind when you're overthinking. Like, really drop into your feeling, drop into like this space, and just like lead from your feeling, not so much like what you think it means.
Okay.
Um, I'm thinking that's what that gym is meaning for me, is to like really bust out of like this structure. It's beautiful, like it's great. It's beautiful, but like your next step is to be more in that like feminine flow and essence. And so you have to shatter that structure. And I think
Yeah.
that pertains to like your mind as well. I don't know that if that's why it was tethered or not to your throat, but yeah, that's what I'm feeling. And I would, yeah, sit with those questions and see what comes through. Maybe in like a heart meditation, a heart chakra
Mm.
meditation, and see what comes through after you've gone through that. What about you, Lauren?
Yeah, when I moved on to the heart, which heart is like in the center of the chest, it's center for love and compassion, forgiveness, service. At first, I felt into it, and it just felt really uh, expansive and beautiful and warm. So you have this very like powerful heart, and very compassionate too. And what I saw was like a rainbow kind of going through the middle of it, which is cool. It was like the waterfall mist
Oh,
with the rainbow.
I love
uh,
it.
yeah, very, very beautiful. And what I felt from the heart, though, is that it longs to be in peace and that it's just not quite there. So I asked, like, how to get it there, what the key is to feel more peace in the heart. And basically, the rainbow is kind of the answer. It's the full spectrum. So it's being able to feel your full spectrum of emotions and let them flow through you. So we talk about this kind of a lot, but like when we don't allow ourselves to be fully expressed in that way, the emotions become stuck in us and it creates like this feeling of dis-ease. Um, so the key to like feeling more at peace is kind of to confront the things that we don't wish to confront usually. Um, and I can imagine you've been through a lot of grief in the last few years and things from the miscarriage, and that makes me think of the rainbow too,
Yeah.
being in your
Yep.
heart. Um, and I can imagine maybe wanting a break from like all that feeling, perhaps. Um,
Yeah. And
s-
I feel a lot. I feel like
mm,
I'm a sponge for other people's emotions, and it
mhm.
affects me, especially like my daughter, depending on her emotions for that day. And sometimes I take that in, and it could be a good thing, but also like channeling that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. It's about not let it like, you don't want to absorb, you want to let them flow through.
Flow through. Yeah. Okay.
So, and really like, honestly, the best way to do it is to like really allow yourself to feel it because it won't last forever. You just feel it and then let it go, if that makes sense. But like the denial of it or like the kind of pushing away, the resistance, that's what gets it kind of like stuck and absorbed in there.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, one of the things I'm working on too is just I feel it, I absorb it, and I can react. And I'm trying to be better about how I react to things based on how I'm feeling. And I'm wondering if just thinking about that and letting flow out will help with that,
Mm.
Mhm.
because that's finding peace. And yeah,
Yeah.
I have a question,
yeah.
Melissa. When you say, can you give me an example of like what you do in that type of situation? Like when you are feeling something and you're absorbing it, and then you say you
Um,
react. Just
I mean,
something
I
you
would
wouldn't mind
say a
sharing.
couple of examples. Like, there have been times where, my daughter, I knew she had a really tough day, and maybe she was going through something developmentally, and I felt very emotional because of it affecting her, and her behavior and how she was feeling. And so, like, that day, I would just kind of be almost like crying or really just feeling it throughout the day. That's one example. And then the other is just, I think sometimes when And it depends on how I'm feeling too. Like if I am feeling like good energy and have enough self-care, but just, like how you could get really irritable, like maybe you're taking in some negative energy or stuff going around, and just like the normal day to day with family, work, right? And sometimes I take that in and I don't know, I just can react irritably.
Yeah. And okay, and like let's just remember like we're all human, right? Like this
Yeah.
is part of our experience. When you like for the first example, like yeah, our kids Lauren and I talk all the time about like the emotions and the whirlwind and all the things. I think a great practice for you would be speaking to what is happening. That is a way of physically getting it out. Like, oh my goodness, Violet, it looks like we're having a hard time. Mommy is feeling this too. What can we do to make us feel better? Oh, let's just take a deep breath in, pretending that we're feeling this balloon expand with all of this icky, icky feeling, and then let's blowing it out. Right? That one will help her with her breathing and some techniques, but also
Yep.
you visualizing this energy moving through your body and pushing it out. And maybe Violet won't understand, right? She won't get it just yet,
It
but
depends on
you
her
will.
mood too.
Yeah, yeah, it depends on
Will
her
she
mood.
be
And
like, no,
yeah, and
right?
even if she doesn't, this still is a great practice for you, and she sees you doing it. It doesn't have to be that exact thing,
Right.
correct? But something that is going to feel really, really good for you, because I think sometimes, especially when I started in my spiritual journey, it was really easy to hear people say, let it move through you. And I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, I don't understand. Move through me. Like, it's here. I feel it in my belly. Like, how do I get it to move?
Yeah.
Move out. But for me, it was like the visualizing and the actual like movements and the breath and bringing that all into place, which will also help with you and like coming to certain spiritual practices. Like this is all like techniques, but this is all spiritual practicing too for you as well. How can you incorporate this? Do you say, okay, I'm feeling all of this energy from these people around me, I've had a conversation with the family, like do I need to like sage myself? Do I need to like light some Palo Santo? Whatever it is, like doing the acts, coming out of your mind, but doing the acts to help you physically and visually see you moving these emotions through. So, like maybe next year, you won't have to go the roundabout way. Just like with intuition, for us, like, I have to come to my place in nature and I have this set of things I have to do. But in the beginning, I had a lot more. It took a lot more time to get to me to drop in. Now, not so much. So, you finding that practice that's going to help you get to the point where you won't need all of this hand. I don't think it's hand holding, but that's the word that came to mind, to get to release it like just at the drop of a dime. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So really validating it, speaking it, visualizing it, seeing it. Yeah.
Yeah, because they just want to be seen. These emotions just want to be like, yo, I'm here. Like, why are you ignoring me? And if you're going to ignore me, all right, sis, I got you. If you're going to ignore me, I'm just going to sit around here until you do something about it. And if you're not going to do anything
Yeah.
about it, I'm just going to sit here and come up at a different time when you least expect it. So instead of having that
Yeah.
whole thing happen, like really like sit in the moment, like really push through, especially if you have the space to do so. Sometimes we're out and about and we can't really like do those things, but yeah, like really validating them, thanking them for showing you. And I fully believe, I know I'm going a little over, but I fully believe that the emotions that we hold on to is a way of our soul talking with us, speaking to us, especially with those like deep emotions. And it allows you to know whether you're on path or not.
Hmm.
Right. So yeah, just
Yeah.
come up with something that will allow you to like really physically, visually allow those things to move through you.
Okay. Think about that.
Okay, Rashida, those are all great tips on how to actually let things flow. Because you're right, we say things sometimes and don't give any practical examples. So, like, what good is that? Um, so, I'll move us down now to the solar plexus, and solar plexus is located just above the navel, and it's really our power center. It's associated with fire, confidence, drive, um, self esteem, a lot of times with like career purpose. So, for this, what I saw was Um, it's been raining a lot here lately. What I saw was like kind of cloudy skies and rain. And that's to say, though, that there is a bright sun behind it, right? That's shining. It's just sometimes we can't see it because of the weather. So, what I saw that the clouds being is a bit of a lack of trust in your gifts. And what the remedy, I guess, was is you have to stay true to you and release like people pleasing. So, when you're expressing, it has to be, and we talked about this in the throat, like from a
Yeah.
place of like true authenticity, and you don't need to worry about how it's going to be received by others. Of course, like being tactful is one thing, and like being kind, of course, like we want to embody those qualities because they help the message be heard, I think, from others. But as far as like what is actually true to you, that's what needs to come through. And it's not really it's not really saying that what you are doing or saying isn't true to you right now. It's more just have confidence in it and trust.
Mhm. Well, especially recently, and putting my book out into the world and trying to build a community and share my gift or gifts, there I've struggled with self-doubt, imposter syndrome, and trying to like shift that mindset. And so it's really come up, and trying to again go back to that, be true to you, does help a
Mhm.
lot. And so this validates that.
Yeah. And it's like giving it over to source too, of like, this is meant to reach whoever it's meant to reach.
Mhm.
And I'll do my best to get it out there, but like also I have to release some control. And I just want to tell you like so much solidarity with vulnerably writing a book, and then you like it's not only you write it, then you have to like tell everyone about it and like try
Yeah.
to get the word out. And yeah, like if there's any self-doubt, it makes it really hard to like want to stand up on a pedestal in town square and yell to everybody that you have a poetry book out. It's like the equivalent of what's happening on the internet essentially. So just a lot of love there, because I think even people who have published a bunch of books and have millions of copies sold probably still deal with that, it's going to come up.
Yeah.
So just a reminder to own it and let it be what it is and have confidence in that.
Okay. It's good.
What about you, Rashida?
Yeah, so when I came to your solar plexus, I immediately got this like vision of you standing in the sun with your face turned up, and like the word like I get this pulsating feeling of this word, and it was charge.
Ooh.
So I think that's, literally like charge your solar plexus energy.
Wow.
Um, do like being in the sun, will help with that, focusing on that, and then also grounding in the earth. Sometimes we think of grounding as more of like a root chakra type of practice, but laying in the earth, like we all know that the earth has these like electromagnetic pulses and different things to kind of like help us physically. Like that's why we should walk on the earth barefoot from time to time. It helps center us and grounds us, yes, but also it helps with the energy within us as well. So when you're connecting with the earth in that way, just focus on your solar plexus as well, and just think of it as like charging, giving you strength, and courage, and that ability to like really be. And a question that came through for you to think about and maybe sit with is, and I think it goes to what Lauren was saying as well, who do I want to be? Question mark. And not who you are, not what you do, but who do you want to be, right? Obviously, don't answer that now. That can probably like
Yeah, that's a
take you a
power
while.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a really deep question to think about. Yep.
yeah, but that also, when you think about that and you have an answer and know that your answer will change, I think that's the one thing that society like likes to tell us, that we can't change in that way. We can totally change our vibe, our essence,
Mhm.
will be the same, or our vibe might, change, but our essence will essentially be the same in who we are on this earth. But it'll help you like really get clear on what it is and how you want to move. Like, for instance, I just want to give you a quick example. When I thought about values, like before I started this path, like I thought I knew what my values were, but I never actually like took the time to write them down and to like really sit
Mm.
with them. And so when you think about something like that, something as loose, like something like values and me having values loosely in my mind, it it makes sense that I kind of like had this life of just like going here and there and not really purposeful, not really having intention behind who it is I wanted to be and what it is I wanted to do. I was just, all over the place because my values were like kind of like rolling around in my head, but I never actually defined what it is, the values I wanted in my life. And when I did, that's when more of that clarity came through. That's when more of that like authenticity wanted to like shine and be like, nah, girl, these are your values. This is what you said you wanted. What are you doing that's aligned with that? And if it's not aligned, then that's not who you are. If it's not aligned with those values too. So maybe this is a check for you to check in with your
Yeah.
values as well. You know what I mean? I found it to be a really, really powerful practice for that. But really sit with that, meditate on that question. Who do I want to be? And I would challenge you when you sit with that question, because I think you're going to get a lot here. This would be one of those things that you do some intuitive journaling. And essentially, what that is you meditate on that question, allow all the ick and stuff to kind of come through and pass and thank it for being here. And then come out of that and just allow yourself to freely write, not thinking about it, not trying to finish a sentence, just whatever's coming through for you. And then like go back through that and read that and
Mhm.
like pick up on those things that you like know or like you and your soul speaking through you. And then the other things too, it might be a good practice to see what is lingering from other people. So this is really going to help you like really get who am I authentically and how do I need to move in this world, in like my creations and what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to bring.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a very strong visual and a practice which I really look forward to doing. And yeah, I mean, I think also it's just I'm in this space too of wanting to be authentic and being intentional and grounding, and it's just all kind of coming together. So
Mhm.
I think this is a really good idea and practice. And
Amazing.
visual. That's a really good visual. And it's funny too because Lauren was talking about the clouds, but behind that is the sun. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm going to do the last two.
Mhm.
Um, I have like kind of a long final message for you too, but I'll wait until Rashida's finished your sacral and root.
You,
Um, Sound
unless you
good?
want to go ahead, we can both just wrap up unless you'd rather wait.
I just didn't want to overwhelm, but I can go ahead and do it. So I'll finish out your reading, then she will,
Okay.
and because we want to make sure you have plenty of time for your call that I know you have next. um, all right, so we move down to the sacral, which is below the navel in the pelvic area. It's your womb space. It's an area of creation, of sensuality, of connection and joy. So this is, I felt really good here. Like if I was, sorry, weird thing to say, if I was a baby and wanted to choose a womb, that this would be like a really good place to hang. It would feel loving
Thank
and
you.
warm. Uh, so it felt like, yeah, warm orange glow, extremely nurturing, just like so much nurturing, beautiful energy in there. Fertile, creative. It only needs to know that it's enough. That
Hmm.
was like the main message. It only needs to know that it's enough. So just such a creative, beautiful space for you. A place that you can always look to if you're feeling blocked in any way creatively. And I'll take it down to the root from there. So, root chakra located at the base of the spine, but also like legs and feet. And this is all about your basic needs. It's all about your ancestry, your inner child, your connection to nature. So I saw like really deep roots similar to your inner goddess, like deeply rooted, but they need to be watered a little bit. I think this speaks to the self-care that's needed right now. So I think you can bring more energy in, or prana, we call it, life force energy, to water these roots. So really simple things, lots of walking. Do you have like a
Mhm.
walking practice?
I used to walk a lot more, and I haven't recently, and now I broke my toe. So
Oh,
so, I started to make the goal of, like, getting back to once a week walking, because typically I'm doing, like, yoga and Pilates in my house, but walking, I love walking, and it
mm,
just yeah, I would love to get back once I'm healed to start integrating that at least a couple times a week.
yeah. And I think it's something you could start slowly with too. You don't have to like make it a goal to take these long athletic walks right now, but just for whatever your toe can handle. But your feet really need to
Yeah.
get on the earth.
Okay.
And that rhythm is really good for you of walking. And just simple things like eating lots of veggies and fruits that are like filled with life force energy. Um, the very, very simple self care things. And also, I know it's hard to get quiet time when you're a mom, but any like
Mhm.
quiet time you can get to connect with nature is, I think, going to really support absolutely everything that we've talked about today, because it's hard to get clear on your values and your emotions and things like that when you're surrounded by noise and chaos all the time. So yeah, any quiet time you can get to yourself outside, and however realistic that is for you right now,
Yeah. Yep.
would be really good. Or walking by the ocean, or and maybe that's it. Maybe that's your practice. Walk by the ocean.
Walk by the ocean, be camping this weekend,
Oh,
so
good, good.
maybe find some time, maybe for a mini walk by myself or
Mhm.
writing. If, say,
Yeah.
my daughter goes down to the water with my husband or something like that. And I've also been like just wanting to be on a picnic blanket in my backyard and just write and like lay there or be in a hammock. But as you know, it's it's really hard to get that space and time. So you really have to try and make it, but I'll get there at some point.
Yeah, that sounds really peaceful. Um, so yeah, nothing major there. Just reminders of like how to care for yourself, and to that the roots hold, like it's the foundation for everything else. So that they're so important to tend to. I'll go through final messages. They're kind of free written, so I'll do my best just to write what I've got.
Okay.
So checking in with your inner goddess, she says, "We are exactly where we need to be. Extract the beauty of this phase of life by being present, patient, and appreciative. Make sure to appreciate you and regularly celebrate and honor how far you've come. You cannot do everything all at once, so slow down, enjoy the journey, and trust that Source is leading you to more beauty than you can currently conceptualize." And this is the
Wow.
part I was referring to earlier. Any mess, quote unquote, is medicine. 'Cause we all know this is a messy phase of life, young kids, everything else. The mess is the medicine. The love fuels, the love is fuel for longevity. So, like, extracting that love from the present moment in this messiness that is life right now is what will fuel like your long term goals. Um, Follow your inner voice and trust the next stone on your path will always be revealed. Um, so that's when I was picturing like your path and purpose, it wasn't this thing that was like fully laid out for you already. Like it will always be revealed to you moment to moment. So it's really important to pay attention, and also like not to, it's good to look far ahead, I think, for longevity and when aligning with your values, but it's not always good to look so far ahead for like deep specifics,
Mhm.
because this is showing me that life wants to like surprise you.
It's wonderful. It's beautiful. And I think too, again, like going into that, your last comment, just that macro bigger picture. But yeah, that's just really beautiful. Beautiful, messy life.
Embrace it.
Embrace it. Yes. Yeah, those really resonate with me. All those messages. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, thank you, Lauren.
Yeah.
Okay, I will jump back to your sacral and go down and close out as well. When I tapped into your sacral energy center, I saw you dancing with like tiny bells wrapped around your waist. And the movements that I saw were very like serpentine like movements. Um, and kind of like the overall message was use this as a way to have connection back to yourself and your sensuality. Um, of course, my handwriting, but clear your doubt, bringing you back home to your true essence, which is home. So, I don't, there wasn't really any like block here. Like it felt really good. And just like seeing these movements, I'm feeling like you're very like full in this area, but know that when you are maybe even you're having like creative blocks or anything going on, like come back to like this dance and really like tap into this chakra space to like really like allow you to tune back into your like true essence. So that's what I got from your sacral area. And then your root. Okay, I did not get any type of vision for this. I got like a clear like message, pen to paper, and the message was your past is not something to be forgotten. There is strength and wisdom in turning to those who came before you and your past experience. Find the key that allows you to unlock all that came before. This will allow you this will give you or offer you that strength that's inside, so go within. Sorry, I could not read my this last word. So yeah, it's telling you to like go within, but do not like shut out your past. And when we think about our past, it made me think of like your ancestors, your ancestry, like our roots. So again, not so much a block, but just like a helpful like word of advice. Like your past is not something to be forgotten, people or experiences, and you can find strength within those things as well. So you always have to just look within to find that strength.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed reading your energy. I wanted to tell you, I didn't tell you all the visions that I saw when I like tapped in. So when I had you come into my place of nature, like you had your guide above you, and then you had this like, okay, I wasn't sure if it was a boy or a girl, but you had this toddler behind you, kind of like peeking around you, and then you had a babe in your arm. So I don't know what that meant. I don't know
Oh
what
my
that
God.
even means. Like, I don't know, but I just wanted to like give you that hint of,
Wait, can I tap into this? So, one of the things that my husband and I are not really exactly on the same page, and we're not 100% against or for, but we're not sure about a second child. My daughter, she's a strong-willed, beautiful, bright soul. And so it was and also giving birth in a pandemic, and it was really, really a challenge. And just, when you think about all the things in the head, like reasons why it's easier, like not to have another kid, but my heart keeps saying there's another child, even though my head and maybe both of our heads are saying no. But I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Like,
I don't know.
I feel like when I started meditating after miscarriage, and I felt like my daughter, um, and I felt her there, but I feel something there again. I
And it
wonder
might
if this
not
is
it might
I
not be
don't
right
know.
now. And it
Yeah.
might, it's one of those things too. Like my daughter was a really big catalyst for me getting into my spirituality and this work. And like you said, even Lauren, she had Gemma during the pandemic too. Like it's rough. And like we are very practical beings, but then again, you're doing the work and like unraveling all the I shoulds. I should do this, I should do that because this is what it is. You don't want to be irresponsible, but you also want to make sure that, you're not leaving anything on the table to have regrets.
Yeah.
Now, I'll be completely transparent. Daniel and I decided that we were only going to have Macy, and then Miles came along. So, it might be one of those things too. You're like, yeah, no, we're good. And the universe is like, okay, this is when I'm going to drop this on you. So I think it's good to have open dialogue with your partner.
Mhm.
But if you are feeling this like sense of, I think I really think I want this to come through, then have that and like weigh, your pros and cons. There's always, I'm sorry, I love my kiddos, but there will always be a con to adding more kids to the family.
Mhm.
The cost and the this and the
Yeah.
that. But there are so many pros too as well. So there is no right answer in this, but just
Right.
know maybe this is just like a little message that you may have
Mm.
someone waiting if you decide that this is something you want to do.
Well, thank you for
So
sharing.
you're welcome.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, Melissa, we've got about 5 minutes,
Mhm.
so I'd love to know, one, what's your biggest takeaway from today? And then two, please tell us all about your book, what it is, where we can
Yeah.
find it.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for sharing your gifts. I love you. I love you both. I love your vibes. I
Aw.
love your energy. And I feel like the biggest takeaway is to continue to trust who I am, be true to me, be authentic, um, feel those emotions, like feel it, validate it, and start to really like listen with my heart. I think if I were to summarize that all, and of
Mhm.
course I took notes. um, yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that's a good summary?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
And you'll have this to go back to because I
Mhm.
yeah,
know when we go through all of your chakras, especially you're literally getting two readings at once. So
yeah.
you're
It's
gonna have a
amazing.
ton of
Yeah, it's a
energy. Yeah.
lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
for me, it's all about like embracing what is already here.
Mm-hmm.
That,
Being present and like celebrating that. That's
mhm.
a good message too. Yeah.
Yeah, because you
Yeah.
have very beautiful energy. It's
Mhm.
it's all about, like,
Thank
celebrating that, I think.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I have to sometimes, you forget to be like, "Oh, yeah, you are beautiful. You are doing these things that are worth celebrating and you
Yeah.
are a good mom," even though it's hard to say that, right? Mom guilt
Mhm.
every day. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So as far as my book it's called My Roots Grow Strong, and it's really interesting because I feel like you really pulled out the essence of it, like with your visuals, really thinking like nature, lotus, beautiful, like spring goddess. And so the book is really just taps into the human experience, how we each have our journeys, our struggles, but that, yes, we have a choice, but we have the strength to overcome that. And I share like my vulnerable moments with mental health, struggling with an eating disorder. And Lauren, I believe that you struggle too with an eating
Yes.
disorder, right? Yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
And that being a big part of my life, right? And recovery and learning, new tools like um, along the way, life tools, right? Um, so that was a big component. And then I talk about mental health, anxiety. I talk about motherhood, especially from the perspective of the pandemic, miscarriage, and all of this from my perspective. But it's really like anyone can interpret it the way that they want it, right? So at the end of the day, my goal is to relate on like some kind of emotional level. So I share the stories and the poems, but I think it's relatable to everybody, and you can interpret it the way that you want. Also, it's just all 87 poems are beautifully illustrated, and with a big component, a big element being nature. florals, spring, that goddess vibe. So it's just really beautiful and colorful. And again, it's just like connecting as humans with our emotions, our experiences, and relating to each other. And yeah, that's what it's about. So my website is melissasprattwrites.com, and on Instagram, I'm at Melissa Spratt Writes. Those are the best places to find me, and I'm just continuing to share my journey and connect with you on your journeys. And I'm just so grateful to share together today, share our gifts.
Oh, well, I will go order that right now.
Yeah, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah, I don't know, I love poems, but having like an art interpretation too, I love the
Yeah, that's
visuals
really
as
cool.
well.
Yeah,
The
and
illustrator was
congratulations.
wonderful. Thank you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
I worked a whole year with the illustrator, and we just vibed. It was just like our
Mm.
souls, like, I don't know, our minds merged and it just came together and it just flowed. Our souls flowed. So yeah, it was a
That's
wonderful
amazing.
experience.
That is
And
really cool.
yeah, so now I'm also looking to I'm hosting my first workshop locally in Connecticut, and hopefully I'll do some virtually. So just sharing like experiences, stories, connecting with other women, and also I really like to focus on sharing self-care practices and mindset, and what I'm learning, I'm sharing. So we're again growing together.
Mm.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, thank you
Well,
so
thank
much, Melissa, for letting us read your energy and for sharing your gifts with us today. And Rashida, as always, it's such fun and it's
yeah.
lovely doing readings with you. And I love your wisdom and what comes through. Yeah, and thanks everybody for listening and connecting with us today.
Thank you. Bye,
Thank
Lauren.
you.
Bye, Melissa.
Thank you, Lauren, Rashida.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us for this incredible episode. If you loved it, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and tell all your besties about us.
You can also connect with us on Instagram at Your Spiritual Besties Podcast. And be sure to say hello and share your thoughts about the episode. Love you, bestie. Talk soon.